Hello everyone and happy Tuesday. It is the 14th of May, 2024. My name is Kyle and it's Maker Notes time. And today we're going to talk about this really cute little hat. This is called Field of Wildflowers. It is by Joji Locatelli. And you can see it's got some really cute texture going on. And also the yarn is so gorgeous. We dyed this yarn. So this yarn is called Sunday Comics. It was developed by our friend Keith Leonard of Yarn Snob and Knits All Done. And it uses a really clever technique of combining lots of colors, very much like his Happiness colorway, but on a yarn base that we created called Kinky Yarn. So I'm going to show you the yarn itself. It's in the plastic, sorry. This is a Kinky yarn. It comes in 3 different weights. So this is the bulky weight. This is a 100% superwash wool. In the bulky yarn, there's 147 yards and a 200 gram cake. The worsted yarn is this one here. So the worsted yarn is 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon, and there are 332 yards in this cake of 150 grams. And then the sock weight is this one. Sock weight yarn, 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon, and in the sock weight, there's 439 yards in a 100 gram cake. So the smaller that the yarn size gets, the less amount of grams, like the less weight the overall cake or hank or whatever weighs, and the more yardage there is. So the finer the yarn, of course, the more yardage there is. So those are the 3 different weights. For the Field of Wildflowers hat that I just showed you, we used Kinky worsted when we dyed this yarn. And the colorway, so I know it's hard to believe, but this cake of yarn becomes this. So this is what the Sunday Comics colorway looks like, and each hank of this is unique and different. Every once in a while, there's one that leans a little bit more pink. If you are old enough, like I am, you remember getting comics in the newspaper, and you remember newspapers also, but you might remember that every once in a while, at least for us, the Sunday paper, the comics page would be a little bit pink. And I don't know why that happened, but every once in a while also, coincidentally, this yarn leans just a touch pink in areas. They are all, like I said, one of a kind. So let us pick one for you. There's only a few of these. So choose one now while we have them, and we will gift you the Field of Wildflowers hat pattern by Joji. How are we going to do that? We're going to buy the pattern on Ravelry from the designer. So if you have a Ravelry account, tell us your Ravelry name and we'll put the pattern in your library. If you don't have Ravelry or you don't use it, that's fine too. We will send the pattern to whatever email address you use when you check out. We'll also print a copy of the pattern, put it in a page protector, send it along with your order. So when you get your yarn, you'll have the pattern, you'll be ready to cast on. It's a quick pattern, a quick project. It'll, probably get done in a weekend if you have some knitting time to enjoy. So that is the yarn we're going to talk about today, and those 3 different weights. So also, we offer this yarn in its undyed state, but what does this look like? Well, the one I have here is already dyed to show you, kind of, but this is a cake of Kinky yarn. This happens to be the bulky weight, and we sprayed it on one side with a Marabou fashion spray, and on the other side we sprayed it with a different color, and then we can undo it. So when you undo it, it is a coil. You see how it's a tube right here, but when we undo it, it gives you little tiny bits of blue specks and little green specks, and they are just from bit to bit. So it gets wound into a ball, or caked or hanked into a hank if you want, and it makes sort of a speckly yarn, which is really fun. The tube that is knit, it's a tightly knit tube, so there's a lot of compression of the fibers as it is knit into that tube. So even if you dye this using one of the other techniques that we have, I'll tell you in a second, made available, or do one on your own, if you're dyeing it in this cake form, even if you submerge the whole thing, you're gonna end up with little bits of places that don't absorb the dye quite as intensely, which we think is super cool. So dyeing techniques. There are quite a few of them that are on our website. They're all free downloads. A lot of experimenting goes on with this kinky yarn because it's fun to just try new things and see what happens. So we've done dyeing with wine. We dyed, of course, with Easter egg tablets, breaking them up in little bits. There's regular dyeing as well. There's lots of other things. Regular dyeing meaning dyeing with regular acid dyes. You could certainly dye with food coloring, or you could dye with beets, do natural dye. You could try using an indigo vat if you have access to that. There is, the only limit, I guess, would be your imagination. So check out the Kinky yarn. Go ahead and order some of that. We have this on sale for 25% off. So you can get one cake of it or multiple, and the more you buy, the more you save. So it's a good opportunity to stock up on these if you want to maybe have a dyeing party outside somewhere. What else do I want to talk to you about? Talk to you about the dye together. So all those downloads, I guess, you can grab those on our website, makersmercantile.com. If you just type in the word kinky in the search bar, it'll come up with all the different kinky yarns. There's some from our dye lab that we've dyed for you. If you'd like to get one of those, you'll also see the 3 different weights of this yarn that we have available. And then also the downloadable files of some patterns as well as some techniques. So check all of those out. Speaking of dyeing, so we have 2 different Eat, Knit, and Dye pieces for you. This is our Eat, Knit, and Dye sticker. So this is fun for your little water bottle or anything if you'd like it, sort of a tattooed inspired sticker. And then we also have that same design as a enamel pin, which is super cute. So grab either of those if you are passionate about dyeing and eating and knitting as well. Other things in the newsletter, we have the Notions tin. So this is one we've stocked back up for you. Inside these Notions tins are lots of the essentials that we need. So you can keep it all snuggled up in this tin, carry it along with you in your project bag. There is a maker's tape measure here. There is a needle gauge for just round needles. This is a Skacel by Addie needle gauge. It has the sizes here in US and millimeter sizes, and then a 2-inch measure here, so you can measure for gauge. There are some 24 karat gold scissors, little tiny snippy scissors. There's also some heart stitch markers, which are hard to show you because I'm holding them, but there's the heart stitch markers, and there is a blunt tapestry needle in here as well for all that finishing that we're gonna be doing, weaving in all the ends. So all those things fit in this little container. If you're interested in that, you can grab one while they're available. What else is on my list? Olive knits. So the 4-day knit along is coming. It's coming very, very soon. We get to talk about it next Wednesday, the 22nd, from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time. So I will be joining my amazing friend, Marie Green of Olive Knits, and we're gonna talk about what the tea is. So if you haven't made note, set a reminder in your phone or have your smart device remind you to tune in with us. It is a free event on Zoom where we will talk about the project that we're going to be making. We're going to talk about the yarn. We have some colorways to mention as well that we've suggested. We also have a bonus pack, which I will be talking about. I can't talk to you about it quite yet. We have to wait, we have to be patient, but that day is one day closer than it was yesterday, and it's going to get closer and closer, and then eventually it will be here and we get to spill the tea. So that is Wednesday, the 22nd of May from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific. I hope to see you there. It is going to be really exciting to get to finally talk about all this stuff. And then the last thing in today's newsletter, there is a shawl. This is the Kinky Shawl. I did this using 3 cakes of Kinky, the bulky weight, the heaviest weight, the bulky weight. And I came up with a little bit of a technique to create a way to make these so that when you dye them, they all sort of seamlessly transition from one cake of it to the next. So sometimes hand-dyed yarn, you can kind of see that line. So I figured out a way to do that. I talk about it in the notes on this pattern. So you can see how I went about creating this seamless transition, how I marked each of the cakes of yarn so I know which one was the first, second, and third cake of yarn since they're separate, and also which end of each coil to begin working with as you work. So all that stuff is in that pattern. It is free for you to download. You can click the link and get that pattern as a free gift from us, courtesy of makers, and download through Ravelry. So that's it, I think. We talked about all kinds of stuff. I hope you get one of these cakes of this yarn. This is such fun stuff. It is happy, 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 all piled together on the desk, ready for you to order. So have a wonderful week, everyone. Do something kind for yourself, as we always say, and I'll see you again on Friday. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.